Hello everyone, I am Cool Guy, and today we're going to be taking a look at the exotic pulse rifle Graviton Lance. I'm very excited to get back into these. The description reads, think of space-time as a tapestry on a loom, this weapon as a needle. And this is going to be a preliminary review, kind of like a weapon showcase, but a lot more in-depth. And here's the deal, I cannot fully review this weapon, not yet. We can call this a prelim though. We're going to be learning a great deal about this weapon, but its overall effectiveness is still going to be debatable. We're really early in the game, but we can make some good assumptions, we can make some critiques. The goal is for a greater understanding of the weapon. For perks, its intrinsic perk is Black Hole. The third shot of a burst rips a hole through space-time, doing high damage and recoil with no fall-off. Hammer-forged rifling, increased range. Accurized rounds, increased range. Cosmology, kills with this weapon cause enemy targets to detonate. Fitted stock, increases stability, moderately increases recoil control, slightly decreases handling speed. So let's break it down. It's a pulse in the 360 round per minute class, and this weapon falls in the energy category. And in that energy category, we have 5 other weapons like it. The green Cadenza 11, the blue Encore 25, and the legendaries Last Perdition and Swift Ride. It has an impact of 29, range of 55, stability of 91, magazine of 38. Its hidden stats, we have handling at 59, aim assist of 50, and a recoil direction stat of 65. So out of all these weapons in this energy weapon category, each stat is the highest. Now these are base stats, it does have 100 stability, it's helped with perks like fitted stock, but its range and stability is unmatched, and statistically, its base stats are phenomenal in comparison to all other pulses in the archetype. It has very high range, very high stability, what you want, consistency, especially in that energy category. It also has a very cool sound after each burst. Aesthetically, it's sleek, it has a box-type scope, void running through it, very nice looking weapon. The perks work like this, and this is where the weapon gets kind of weird. We have Cosmology. Kills with this weapon cause enemy targets to detonate, but what it does, it shoots them directly backwards. It's not like a traditional Firefly, it's more like you get a kill with an enemy, it shoots them backwards like 5 meters, like a grenade launcher shot. It's very odd. So this creates issues for crowd control. Say some thrall are coming towards you, you end up shooting them, and it shoots them back behind the pack, the group behind them, not spreading that explosive damage within them. So where it works best is shooting enemies against walls, or if one rushes at you, say there's a leader thrall, before his group comes, you shoot him back into the group behind him. You almost have to be strategic with this pulse rifle. And being that it is an energy weapon, it does really good damage to named enemies in PvE, but again, the weapon does handle very oddly. The intrinsic perk states the third shot of a burst rips a hole through space and time, doing high damage and recoil with no fall off. To start off in PvP, very easy understanding as far as numbers goes. The burst itself, odd damage numbers, while the third bullet within the burst does high damage, it takes away damage from the first 2 bullets. As an example, using all critical hits in PvP, the first 2 bullets do 8 damage, and the last one does 51. So the burst itself does 67 damage. It takes 3 bursts to kill, that's 201 damage. We're good. The last bullet does 6.375 times more damage. And remember, this is an energy weapon. We're dealing damage versus a regular Guardian, not in a super. But as you can see, look at it, 8 damage, very, very low damage. You must land the last bullet of the burst. There's no way around it. It's vital to the weapon, and if you land 2 bursts on someone and say the final bullet of each burst misses, let's say due to flinch, say you're right on the head and the burst is on, but they shoot you and your last bullet flies off, you have 32 damage from your weapon, and you missed 102 damage because of those last 2 bullets. Crazy, crazy stuff. So in comparison, the Cadenza 11, which has the same impact, it does 23 to the head, resulting in 69 per burst, so the Cadenza actually does 2 more damage than the Lance. But we're gonna get back to PvP in a moment. The Graviton Lance has a very high stability, but the third shot of the burst makes the stat go out the window. It still shoots true though, it shoots very straight. As you shoot and let the recoil reset, it gradually moves up with the recoil direction. So essentially, you have to apply a little bit of down pressure to keep your shot as straight as possible after the burst. And remember, just like Destiny 1, you can pull the burst down. This helps long distances, and I do encourage this. It helps combat flinch, and it's one of the things I've preached to you guys. Don't let the recoil fly, control it. For pulse rifles, ARs, hand cannons, pulses. But in PvE, it's been a very fun weapon, and again, landing the final round of the burst to the head is vital. The best way I can describe the weapon, it's chaotic crowd control. You just point and shoot, and enemies fly back. Sometimes they hit something, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you send them flying into an exploding barrel, and then that chains to another enemy. It's really fun to use. You don't really know, it's chaotic with what you're doing with it. Now, I haven't played any strikes, no in-game activities, so for now, it does a great job of what it does. For PvP, if you have a steady shot, you're going to be the most deadly with it. It's really cut and dry. It's black and white. There's no gray. Let's use a direct comparison from earlier. The Cadenza 11. It has a range, or within range, it does 23 to the head, so 69 damage per burst. And you're going to see that and compare it to the lance that only does 67 and think that it's better. But remember, fall off is a really big deal. So this is the way you have to think about it. At far ranges, let's say the cadenza might get down to, let's say, 21 damage. So we have lost 6 total damage from the weapon because you're a little bit further out, outside of its effective range. Meanwhile, the 8 body damage goes to 7 or 6 possibly. You only lose 2 or 4 damage in that scenario. So the range game is where the weapon shines. And remember, it keeps that 51 damage to the head. No matter where you are, it has no fall off. Longer sight lines like on Midtown and other maps with long sight lines are where the Graviton Lance really excels. And that's the trade-off. Not to mention, it's way more controllable and comfortable than most of the other weapons because of its high stability. It has good aim assist with that. You get the same thing every single burst that you shoot. Very predictable recoil pattern. And also one more thing, it's very important. It's something that I'm gonna be putting into my reviews. And again, this is a prelim, all right? We talked about it a little bit. It's the fun factor, right? That is in fact measurable to me. There are some weapons in Destiny 1 that did very well, but they weren't fun to use. The Graviton Lance is very fun to use. I mean, floating bodies into space, watching them explode, it hasn't gotten old yet, and I don't think that it will. So in the future, once we get some solid numbers, we can give an actual review, how it does toe-to-toe versus other weapons, where it fits in the meta, how it does in in-game activities like the raid, and even in strikes. I hope you guys learned something. Share it with your friends if you'd like. Be on the lookout for more prelims in the near future. We have a lot to talk about. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am Cool Guy.